let's talk about building wealth in your business. You know, the theme today is not only making money in your business, but how do you make it as an individual? If you own your own business, you'll take a much higher risk than working for somebody else. So you've got to get a higher reward. Give us some basic tips on how we should be managing that wealth and if you like, transferring that wealth from the business to you personally.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts. I think the first thought is not a lot of people really define what they want out of their business. You sort of have there's this sort of wishful thinking, you know, I hope that the business one day will pay me whatever. But unless you decide what you really want out of your business in terms of sort of either money on the way through or sale proceeds, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Unless you really decide what it is you want, you tend to allow the business to pay you what it can. Whereas if you turn it around and say, you know what, I need, whatever it is, I need $200,000 a year out of this business, how am I going to design the business to make that pay me? And that's the first thing. Very few people do that, but people who do that run much more successful businesses because they demand it of the business. The second really interesting point, I think, is to actually take some money out of the business. So you might think, oh, I'm going to keep it in there for a rainy day. And if the cash in the business is generating very good returns, then it's probably a good place to keep it for a certain amount of time. But also, you've got all your eggs in one basket there. And while you're not taking it out of the business, you're not making the business work harder. Because part of it is about making your business work hard for you. Often I hear people say, oh, well, it's okay, I'm hardly going to take anything out of the business and I'm going to sell it in 10, 15 years' time and I'm going to make a fortune when that happens. And rarely is that the case for a number of reasons. You know, one is often our businesses actually aren't that saleable without us. So without us in the business, we can't sell it for a lot. But even businesses, I mean, sometimes you read in the paper, you know, somebody started a business and, you know, 8 years later and they sold it and they sold it for, you know, $2 million. And wow, $2 million after 8 years. I was talking to someone the other day who did that, and she said, well, you know what? I remortgaged my house, and I put $700,000 in the business, and I didn't earn a salary for 8 years. So when I got that $2 million out, I would actually have done better staying in the job that I was in before I did the business. But that's not how everyone saw it. And in fact, she got phoned up by charities and by the needy saying, oh, I saw you in the paper and you got $2 million and can I have some of it? And she was like, you know, I've not had anything for 8 years. So you can get a little bit carried away by the media stories of what people can make when they've sold a business. So my advice, really, sort of in a nutshell, is demand that your business pays you something, a good amount, what you really need to get out of that business, and it should pay you that every year. You should take it out of the business unless you want to sort of loan it back in for cash flow purposes. And think about what happens when, you know, you're getting to retirement age and what do you need to set up for that. Because your business, it's very dangerous to have your only pot of gold as your business.